So a lot of information. I absolutely loved the phrase, the 1950s were the best time of our lives. Um, but in this film, we've seen already in the first half several disrupted ecosystems around the world, disrupted by human activity. Which of these impacts did you learn about, or which of them most concerns you? Please, I think we are a small enough group that if you just speak up, we'll take turns.
I've seen this movie before, and I tell you, I just want to cry when I see that orangutan in that one last tree. That is just such an image that just doesn't go out of your mind. And so for years, as I've watched him or seen other films, the palm forests, the palm trees is one of the things that comes out in this movie that just concerns me so much. He's got such a way of giving you an image to show you really what's happening. And so it's important for us to advocate for sustainable sources of palm oil and to pay attention to what we're actually purchasing, because the dollar vote, the dollar is a vote when you purchase products that cause the kind of harm that we saw just now. That's a problem.
So, Shar, let me ask our group, are you all aware of the climate impact of palm oil usage? You are. And if you are not, I only recently became aware. I'm only recently becoming aware of so many things. But Project Drawdown actually says that the most immediate and most effective intervention that could be done today, starting today, is stopping deforestation immediately. It would have enormous impact on the road we're on right now in terms of halting the amount of carbon emissions and destruction of habitats and lifestyles. Anyone else? What struck you most impactfully about what we've watched?
Well, it was really, for me, it's almost impossible to pick one. The whole thing was like a roller coaster, an emotional roller coaster between just profound beauty, stunning beauty of nature, and then profound heartbreak. I mean, I needed Kleenex at a couple of places because, just killing a dozen mountain gorilla adults to get one baby, and then the pictures of just rows and rows and rows of palm trees where there was just virgin forest. And then the whales. It was just overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm. Many people report that as they learn about this, overwhelm is the strongest response. My question for this group is, as you think about the impact watching something like this has on you, how do you do it? How do you do it? Because I'm beginning to think that the reason we as a society are not doing more to stop what's happening is because too many people can't watch. The overwhelm is so profound that they can't watch. So I'm curious, for those of you who can, what sustains you?
I'll speak again and say it's the the beautiful part, just the hope that we can still save that, because we have to. We absolutely have to do something now. And each one of us, I feel, that's here, is here for that same reason, because we know we need to step up and speak out and make sure that people see things like this, that really open your eyes to what's really happening, and start making changes, even baby changes, just every baby steps, just to get started.
Sheri, he used some words early on. The 4 words I liked are a gentle, reliable rhythm was put in place early on in the film. And I think, to the extent that I can participate in that, a gentle, reliable rhythm to my life, and hopefully it bears fruit.
It can be disheartening to work to raise awareness. It can be disheartening, and I think the thing that keeps me going is, each time we try, each time we have an event, or each time we even have an individual conversation with someone who's not, who can't or doesn't want to watch or be involved. Each time we have a conversation with someone who goes, oh, I didn't know, and now I want to do something about it too. So, while you want thousands following, the movement, when it's just a few, that's heartening. And that just keeps you going.
I would agree. And sometimes I think we get a lot of optimism from the people that we know, people who are meeting here today, and we get inspiration from one another. One thing that spurs me forward is thinking of my children, grandchildren, and now great-grandchildren. And I really want a better world for them. And I want them to know that I did try.
Mhm.
Mm. Mm.
That's so important. I think I was thinking the same thing. I have my great nieces and nephews, and my niece and nephew living in New York City, and what they went through yesterday with the smoke from the Canadian fires. It's real. It's happening in real time, and I think a lot of people back there were really shook up. It finally appeared in their face. And I've always have done this kind of work, and I just keep doing it because it's so important. This is the only home we have, this earth. And I just love what you put together with this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sheri, I was on the call that you referenced, the AFN
Mhm.
Zoom this morning. And the speaker, I said it was a compelling presentation about care of creation from several different aspects. And I talked to him. Well, we communicated by email, and then because I'd like for him to come to my congregation and do that same presentation at an adult forum. And during and I've already made the recommendation in my church. During that same presentation this morning, I went right away to the ELCA social statements, and the one that was written about caring for creation was done in 1993. That's 30 years ago. And it's only more pertinent now in only 30 years. I know that in my own travels, I can recount in just 20 years that I have seen glaciers that have diminished. I've seen, been in the same spot and see where the glacier is now as opposed to where it was when I last visited it. You know, to see all of this that we're watching here, which in Attenborough's lifetime, you know, he has witnessed all of this. I mean, that's astounding. I mean, we're not talking imagine over thousands of years. I mean, this is today's news. But this kind of stuff rarely gets into the news in anything that is usable.
Or helpful. Much of what gets in the news is very, very frightening and overwhelming and dismaying. And the information about what we can be doing is often far down the list.
It is. And you know, collectively, I think, you know, we do have to join our voices together and raise our voices and make that count. I mean, yep, the buck has an awful lot to do with it. But if we can make our legislators hear this, if we can talk with, well, certainly with the products that we buy or don't buy, you know, that can make a difference. But we have to spread the word so that it's lots of people who are stopping to buy
right
X
here in
instead of X, Y.
okay, right here in California now, house insurance has gotten almost impossible to purchase because it has gotten so expensive. And we have several of the big, and that's because of the fires, for fire insurance. Right. And it's astronomical. There have been some townhomes that people can't sell them at all. They can't get any insurance anyplace, and their insurance for their homeowners associations has gone up $100,000. So it's starting to really hit home when it hits people's pocketbooks and they can no longer afford to be in their places, or they can't sell.
Right. And Mary hits on one of 2 points that can cross the political divide. Climate awareness, environmental action is often seen as a progressive left issue. Insurance costs bring it front and center for people of all political persuasions. And California, with Allstate and State Farm both pulling out of the state, Florida, with major insurers refusing and the insurance company of the insurance companies refusing to underwrite insurance, makes it a financial issue that suddenly our friends farther to the right can become concerned about. The second issue is military defense of our country. And probably some of the most alarming information about climate change is included in US military reports about threat risks to land, sea, and sky, divisions and bases that are sinking, and bases that have gone 100% solar so that they don't have to rely on an unreliable grid. So there are because it's become so pervasive, what we haven't, I think, caught up with yet is how the issue itself is beginning to transcend political division. We just maybe haven't caught up with the language to talk across the divide to people who aren't political friends necessarily. But yes, there's the Better World Shopping Guide.
I think
Yes,
you're the one who introduced me to this.
we are. Yeah, it's a great,
Uh,
great
And,
book.
you know, here's the top 10 in one page, the top 10 climate
Climate
actions.
Yeah.
Like, this is not rocket scientist.
Mhm.
I mean, you know, we all have circles.
Of
you know,
influence.
Yeah, yeah, and we can speak in those circles and let the ripples, you know, keep on going
Well,
take locally.
we are coming up on time. I would like to invite anyone else who's not spoken to please express yourself in our group in terms of the impact of our film, what sustains you so that we can watch this information and still get up tomorrow morning.
What sustains me, Sheri, is that I'm very hopeful because I see in our community that people are talking about various resources and some concerns. And there are organizations such as Highland Nature Center that is educating young people and teaching them about the sacredness of our earth and all the resources. And I just heard yesterday that Yavapai County is putting a curriculum together for teachers on a 4th grade level to help them understand about groundwater and conservation in our region.
Wonderful. Suzanne, I'm sorry, can you unmute yourself?
Shar,
I
you're
was just
muted.
gonna tell Charlotte to unmute herself.
Oh,
Yeah.
all I saw were lips moving. I didn't know who was saying what.
I didn't realize you didn't read lips. I was saying the person that spoke before was very right about it being an education thing, and it doesn't start with us. His films are beautiful. I just watched The Frozen Planet a couple nights ago, and they're dramatic and they're beautiful, and yeah, it's heartrending, but I think most people look at it as another world. We haven't personally experienced all of that. And so I don't think it comes to people in their lives. And I think where it has to come in their lives is from education. Kids can be taught into it. They can learn and learn to appreciate. And I think that's where it starts. While this is wonderful and hopefully useful, I think education is really key, that everybody advocate education at a young age. Just my thoughts.
I'd just like to jump in with that. There's a great group that does a lot with nature study with early education, early childhood, and really taking the kids outdoors more than being indoors. So there's some wonderful programs. And I would just like to share on God TV, on Direct TV, it's channel 365. We had recorded the other day. I couldn't watch because I was going back out to camp, but it's called The Cowboy and Preacher. And he's an evangelical Christian, Tri Robinson, up in Boise, Idaho. And he talks about how the Bible and the environment are connected.
Hmm.
And some things I didn't agree with them, but there is so much there I did agree with them. So there's definitely, we do share similar passions about this creation.
Well, next week when we gather, we will, like I said, we'll watch what Attenborough has to say, because the excerpt about the show says it comes with a powerful message of hope, and it's a cliffhanger until we get that. So I'd like to see what that powerful message of hope is, and I'd also like to have you kind of work on a little list of what are some of your daily habits that have changed that you've consciously changed because of your awareness, and where do you evangelize on this topic most effectively? Is it in your neighborhood, at your faith community, or are you just kind of tongue-tied about whether you should or can? So just a couple of ways about our own personal investment in doing something, whether that's on a personal front and or on a more public one. So with that, and I have to remember to write down what I just said, so I can call y'all on your assignment. But thank you for joining us for this first Climate Theater. I'm so thrilled you're here. It is a joy to be able to share with like-hearted people some of what we are struggling to live through. And Fran, you said it. The burden is easier to bear when we bear it together. So thank you. Thank you all for being here.